There's one thing we work on a lot here at Trade Coach, and it's the 1%. Right? I'm going to talk you through a, a whole bunch of things that you could and should be doing. And what I'm going to talk about as well is how my clients are doing this. I want you to ask yourself a question, right? If I've got plumbing and heating engineers, landscapers, electricians who are all making, let's say, 100, anything from 100 to 400K net profits per year, and you're not making that, why is that? Right? So you have to ask yourself that question. Guys, what we need to get away from is tradesmen, is accepting a grand a week, right? A grand a week is a wage. It's nothing else, right? It's a good wage. I'm not belittling a grand a week. A grand a week is a good wage, and it's probably on par or more than you would be earning if you had a normal job. But with all due respect, when you've got a normal job, you start work at 8 o'clock and you finish at 5 o'clock. You know, you're not texting customers at 8 o'clock at night and emailing customers and working out quotes and driving around your city or town doing quotes and whatever. So, therefore, your reward for that should be a hefty dividend at the end of the year. So, little 1%. So let's talk about leads, right? So a lead comes into your business, right? If you're a sole trader or you don't have any admin or nothing like that within your company, I'm going to hazard a guess and say it takes you between 1 and 3 days to get back to that lead. Okay, let me tell you, that needs to be done within 24 hours. Right? Absolutely. Or that warm lead goes cold. Yeah. And one of my clients is fucking in there, been to see the customer, got the quote to the customer before you've even picked up the phone to actually speak to this customer, right? Once you go and see that lead, guys, you need to get a quote out within 24 hours where possible. Now, I know there's some sort of more complex jobs like extensions and whatever, where that can take a little bit longer. But as you must have the opportunity to create some form of spreadsheet or digital price list with all your prices on them from the suppliers. So you're just really measuring quantities. And then when you go to see a client, let's use windows and doors, for example. You will have a price list of the width of windows, side fixed side, whatever it may be, and and a price list for doors. So you're just going in and clicking three 1800 by 1200s, two 900 by 900s, and one front door, one French door at the back. You're just clicking 11111, and the price comes up at the bottom. And literally, it's about a minute and a half work if you're lucky. I mean, to give you an example, I could quote a £30,000 driveway in about 40 seconds with my digital price list. So, of course, okay, I'll tell you what I used to do. So a lead would come into my business. My team, this is when I was still in the business as a sort of surveyor salesman. A lead would come into my business. My team would call that within 24 hours, more often than not within a few hours. They would then arrange for me to go up to see that client, ideally within 72 hours, depending on my diary. Okay. I would go and see that client within 72 hours, and I would have a quote on that in that client's inbox within 24 hours. I would quote the job on the job. And sometimes we sold it doing it that way because people just want to get it over and done with. Other times the customer had a little kickback and they wanted to think about it or whatever. And that's okay. We'll get a quote to you within the next 24 hours. I would come out and from my Ranger, I would fill in the necessary information and it would go straight onto my CRM. My team would get a notification, they'd pick it up, they'd prepare the quote, and that quote would normally be out the same day. Now, what a lot of tradespeople are doing are takes 3 days to call the client, another week to go and see the client, and then sometimes a week to send the bloody quote. Guys, that's 2, 3 weeks. Trust me when I say that somebody like me or one of my clients are in there, and we've sold that job before you've even got the quote to the client. Probably sometimes before you've even been to see the client. We've been there and we've sold that job, guys. It's everything. Like people, if you followed me for a while, you've probably heard this before, but clients will forget what you say to them. You still have to say it. So all these things about your accreditation and your deposit and all these things to to create clarity. They need clarity. If there's one stone unturned, the client can't make a decision. Right? So you still have to say all that. But they'll forget most of it. They won't forget how you make them feel. So you're on time. Fucking this guy's efficient. You phoned within 24 hours. This guy's professional. You've said the right things in the job. Again, they'll forget them, but they won't forget that you acted professionally. You spoke to them about your deposits and system and all that. Therefore, this guy is transparent. You spoke to them about the boring technical stuff. this guy's technical, he's knowledgeable, he knows his stuff, he's going to do a good job, and so on and so on. You then got the quota within 24 hours, and there you're just looking to basically tick, 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 tick all these boxes. And the client, if there's no stone left unturned, the only thing the client can say is, yes, let's go ahead with that. And guys, that's what we teach here at Trade Coach. In module 1 of our Off the Tools program, I've specifically made this module at the start of the course so you, coming onto our course, can start making more money right away. And immediately you complete that module, you can absolutely see where it's going. And you can totally see how by you adding A, B, well, 10 items. In actual fact, it should be called 20 now because it's evolved over the years. There's just 20 things that you can put into your business literally overnight, which will then enable you to increase your prices. And by the way, one of them is getting a proper proposal sent to the customer within 24 hours, what we just discussed. You can then increase your prices. With some, not all, of that additional profit that you're making, you bring people in or systems in to buy back your time. And guys, that's what we do here at Trade Coach. I mean, I coach a whole bunch of stuff, but ultimately, my main goal is to have you earning more and working less. And that's what we do here at Trade Coach. And we start that with 10-0 coaching. Again, it should be called 20-0 coaching, but we do that to get you, because again, and again, you've heard, I know I'm repeating myself here, but if you go to see a quote, a client, and there's two, the client's getting two quotes, let's say three, doesn't matter, let's just say two, because I've got two hands, and you're both exactly the same, right? The client's got one decision to make and one decision only. Who's the cheapest, right? Guys, you need to be 10 times or 20 times better than this guy. And then if you're 12 grand and this guy's 8 grand, the client's got a decision to make. And depending on where you get that client from, this is where we look at targeting your client. Again, we talk about that in the course. Depending on where you get the client from, they're not buying on price. Yeah, you'll find platforms like Checker Trade and Rated, what do you call it, Rated People or whatever it's called. They're generally price-led clients a lot of the time. But then we don't target these clients. We don't advertise on Checker Trade. We target our clients in our own particular way. So only the best clients are coming to us. And these clients are not buying on price. So when you go to see the client and he goes to see that client is looking for professionalism, transparency, knowledge. He's looking for all of that. And that matters because at that point, clients are no longer buying on price. And guys, the more 1% you can add to your business, the more successful you're going to be. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I hope that was transformative. I'm not sure that's the right word to use, but guys, if you don't mind, and I keep forgetting to say this, so just do me a favour and do it if you don't mind. Can you please click subscribe? It helps me a lot. Drop me a little like as well. It just lets me know that you've watched it and you actually fucking like it. It's quite lonely here. It's just me and my plant. It's not even a real plant. Have a good day, guys.